Hey, my name is Uzo, and I am chilling with Dream Team International.
Share a little bit about your childhood and how you feel like it influenced your artistic journey.
Okay. Obviously, coming from a Nigerian background, African parents are very STEM based. And so that was kind of the direction. I did dabble, maybe did some like drawings back in the days, but I wasn't really studying art. I think at one point I wanted to do fashion, but of course, your parents are going to keep steering you to do STEM based field. I was very good at math. In high school, I was focused on math. I wanted to do architecture for a bit, but again, like the push was towards STEM based fields, so math. And then I went to college, and I just knew that if I continued being in statistics and math, I just eventually would quit. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and that's kind of like the whole background. And then kind of growing up in America, but moving here when I was 7, I've kind of been stuck between both worlds. My parents are we don't lose our culture. We're very Nigerian. Being in Maryland for a bit, DC, just being surrounded by other cultures, like you don't lose that, but also at the end of the day, still raised in America. So kind of being between both worlds, for the culture, being African, being cool again, just kind of like being at that moment and experiencing that has definitely influenced everything that I am at this point in my life.
I love that you spoke about your Nigerian culture. Is definitely an influence. So how have you incorporated that into your art? What do we see that says screams Nigerian African?
Yes, I try not to scream that. I feel like you can be more subtle with it. I think when I first started off with art, most people go the Kahindi Wale route where we recreate the Ankara patterns. But eventually, to grow as an artist, you can't just keep doing that because you have to get back to the root of it. Who is designing these patterns for Ankara artists? Other artists are already doing that. So how do I make this piece my own? And so I started teaching myself how to create my own patterns and kind of going back to basics. And so by learning how to build my own patterns, and incorporating the whole idea of figurative is when I started like working on like more like instead of like a French toil, I've started been focusing on like a black version of a French toil. So kind of bridging colonialism with what being African is, and that's kind of the direction I've been going in terms of incorporating my culture with my art.
You've collaborated with several high-end brands. Can you share about a collaboration that was particularly meaningful or enjoyable for you?
I would definitely say my collaboration with Apple Music was my favorite. Um, I just created 6 different artworks that was for 6 different playlists that bridge the like first generation Africans, and so they focus on it in 6 countries from America to Australia to the UK, to Germany. So it was just a really fun project, and just seeing how intentful they were trying to um, bridge music with art and just community together. So I think that was my favorite project, and it is still. If anyone was to ever look up First Gen on Apple Music, you'll be able to see the artwork still there, and all the playlists are always updated every week.
So when you're considering these brand collaborations, because I'm sure a lot of brands reach out to you, what qualities or values are important to you and you're looking for in that brand?
Yeah. Um, I would say organization is very key. Um, I just really like structure. I feel like when there's structure with a brand, it just makes back and forth less work because you don't want to feel like overexerted. Like I do so much other things as well too. So I really do like brands that know exactly what they want. And I would say just brands that I feel that my generation likes.
So what message are you trying to convey through this particular exhibition?
Yeah, this exhibition was the first group show I've ever curated before. It was kind of to end the series because it's been fun being able to explore community and bring in gentrified neighborhoods and filling it back with life again. Um, but with bringing it to close, I felt that the best way was to extend this opportunity to 13 other artists. I feel that sometimes, especially with shows these days, everything is so transactional. But I wanted to show that how important it is when people gather together. That is the most meaningful part about being creating. You're creating not you creating for yourself, but you're also creating for your community as well too. And so just wanted to like give opportunities. Also, they had the opportunity to sell one product on my website as well too. So just extend my audience to them and give them opportunities that they necessarily might not have by themselves yet.
How does community, impact your creative process? And what does community mean to you in your own words?
Yes. Community means support. literally. The community is why I'm here where I am. It's not these brand opportunities. It's not every. It's literally people who are living their everyday life, people wwho can only afford $20 prints, people who just support when they don't even have any money to give. Like that, just that support alone and being able to support my art, support everything that I do, like it's literally got me to where I am. It's not, I can be in rooms with billionaires. It's not them. They didn't get me to where I am. It's the people. And so I try to showcase this and showcase that at the end of the day, when we're all going through things, it's the community that we are around that is positive, that supports us. And I feel that we are kind of losing community a little bit. Everyone becomes more individualized. We're moving from obviously we move away from our family home, but sometimes we can't just go next door to our neighbor's house and ask for a cup of sugar. And so by creating this little reality, different reality through art and through vibrancy, I feel like I can be able to connect people through my art. I will
Mm-hmm.
get messages like, "Oh my gosh, I met somebody in the airport with your jacket," and they spark a conversation. So even like with products, creating pieces that are unique, that do make people want to stop and talk to you. And so I've just been very intentful with doing that, and just if I can create community with my artwork, but I can also find a way to create community by connecting people through art.
Mm, beautiful. So you're very transparent about your journey, especially on Twitter.
Yeah.
In the struggles of your journey and sharing that, what message or lesson do you hope that others will take from your experience?
I always say that when someone gives you advice, consider it, but don't just take it. Not everyone has all the answers. Some think the art can be, but I think like even if that person is right, still going out of your way to test it out for yourself, to consider another option,
Mm,
even if they are right, at least you try to see what, like, does it really work for you truly and fully. And so with it, I've just never liked being put in a box. I feel like with this time and age and things always change, and to just stick with the norm of what things are supposed to be, I feel like it's very limited for everyone. Not everyone creates art and becomes huge and is created in big museums. So how can living artists make a living out of art? And that's kind of just been my challenge, especially, like I said, growing up in a Nigerian household and having to prove to them and show them that this is a career, this is something that I can wake up every day and do, and it is leading into something. So, and I feel like to do that, it's not waiting and sitting and waiting for representation from galleries to
mm,
sell work. There's just other ways to make a living out of art, and that's kind of like how I've just been transparent to kind of show how I've been going along this journey. And yeah.
lovely. Going back to your Nigerian roots and Nigerian parents, how do you feel like they nurtured, your art and stepping into doing that full time? How was that transition?
I would say they nurtured more the business aspect of
Okay.
who I am. All the women on my mom's side are all businesswomen, and I think just being able to see that, I think a lot of Nigerian women are businesswomen, market women. It's just having that little drive. I think even though I am an artist, I've always represented myself as a business as well too, and that's how I'm able to represent myself and know that to advocate for myself the best way, because I'm not just carrying myself as an individual. I'm carrying myself as a business, as an entity. Um, Art wise, they didn't really get it at first. It's nice. They didn't really think it was gonna be something that would be at this capacity. But now, I definitely have. I mean, I think with anybody, I mean, when they see success, of course, they want to support it now that it's making sense. So yeah.
Right, lovely. So, how do you balance your artistic vision with the demands of the industry? And how do you see that balance possibly evolving in the future?
I feel like it's impossible to balance out with the demands of the industry. But it's like, and I feel like when people do that, they overexert themselves and they lose what made things special for them. And so sometimes I get a lot of project requests, but if I just feel like it's making me lose who I am or losing the aspect of what I'm creating, then I don't do it. And but of course, like not everyone has that opportunity to just be able to like say no to projects, especially when like it's money involved. But I think with just me always staying true to myself and true to what I feel like my art should be around, it's how I've been able to, even if I say no to one brand, a year later, a better brand's gonna come along that's gonna align with what I want.
Mm, amen. Amen to
Yeah.
that. So my next question for you is, what are, some goals or something that you want to see, you know, both professionally and probably personally in the year of 2024?
I put out a list of products that I wanted to put out. I do want to do that. I'm working on an exhibition in Lagos. I did an exhibition in Lagos last year, and I was not really as excited how it went. I just felt that I should have given the people more. I think a lot of artists don't come back because they might say the spending power is not the best, especially with like what's going on with the naira. And yeah, it's not the best, but I think there's ways to still have a show that involves the people. And so what I'm working on is I'm creating patterns that's gonna showcase in the works, but it's also gonna be like an awambe party. And so I will be giving people the opportunity to pick from 5 different fabrics, and especially essentially like mend into the show. And so essentially like I'm using the people to become part of the exhibition. And so that's the idea of what I'm working towards. And if I can hit that off, then it's going to present me for my next exhibition in London. So just everything is kind of just aligning up.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Uzo. This has been great. My last question for you is, what is one piece of advice you would share to, any dreamer, anybody with an idea, about going about it? What would you give them?
You need to write down your ideas. You can't actualize it if it's not written down. And it's not just writing it down, it's starting to break it down into achievable goals. If it's, say, something as simple like, I want to own a hair business, do you need a license? Like, what are the first steps that you need, instead of just jumping the guns? And then you have to try to look for solutions. To wait around for something to hit doesn't work. And there's no such thing as, oh, someone already has my idea. How, well, there's always improvements that can come out of, like, Blockbuster thought they had it figured out, and then Netflix came up with a better solution for it. So I would just essentially just say, like, there's no such thing as like, oh, they've already done it. Okay, you can do it and you can do it better.